You can still build muscle, even if you're short on time. In fact, by applying these 10 techniques, you could save time in the gym and build more muscle than you currently are. At the end of the video, I'll show you a way to apply them to your program for maximum benefit. First, drop sets. The biggest meta-analysis on drop sets by Coleman and colleagues suggests that drop sets can offer the same muscle growth in a whopping 30 to 70% less time compared to just doing traditional sets. The catch is that to get the same effect, you might need to do an additional 30% sets or so. So, if you'd usually do 3 straight sets on an exercise, you might need to do around 4 instead. Here's how to do a drop set. Pick a weight you can do for about 5 to 15 reps before hitting failure. Do a set and get pretty close to failure. I recommend ending the set when you're not quite at failure, but could have done another 2 reps tops. Without resting, reduce the weight by 20%. Do another set immediately. You should get at least 5 reps and go a bit closer to failure this time. Drop the weight by another 20% again. Again, get at least 5 reps. Do this as many times as required to hit the target number of sets. I like doing 4 sets total for most exercises, as you'll still be using a decent weight, even on the 4th drop set. The benefit of drop sets may have to do with the fact that during each drop set, you're training close to failure. Each rep you perform, since you're close to failure, all muscle fibers are probably receiving a great stimulus. The second time saver is paired supersets. We recently published a new study in trained lifters, finding that using supersets can help you shave up to 40% from your workout time while causing the same muscle growth. 3 previous studies have found similar growth while sometimes saving up to 50% of time. How do you do a paired superset? Take 2 exercises that target different areas of the body. An easy way to achieve this is to pick 2 muscles that perform opposite functions. The chest and back, the biceps and the triceps, or the quads and the hamstrings. You get the idea. You can also pick 2 muscle groups that are simply distinct, like the calves and abs, for example. But let's use the barbell curl and the barbell overhead extension as an example. Do a set of barbell curls. Rest for about 30 to 45 seconds. Then go ahead and do a set of barbell overhead extensions. Rest for another 30 to 45 seconds. Then do another set of barbell curls, and so forth until all your sets are done. The term supersets just refers to doing 2 exercises back to back. Supersets allow you to save time by combining 2 exercises in the time you'd be spending just resting for 1 exercise anyways. Since different muscles are being targeted in the 2 exercises, you can utilize the rest time to get more training in, cutting down on training time by up to 40 to 50%. Third, rest times. We conducted the biggest meta-analysis on rest times for building muscle and found that resting for just 1 to 2 minutes between sets, on average, was enough to maximize muscle building. Most people rest quite a bit longer than this, but there's a chance they were just wasting time. Instead, try resting for around a minute between isolation movements and around 2 minutes for compound movements. This can often cut down on your workout time by a surprising amount, especially if you were previously resting for 3 to 5 minutes between sets. Fourth, improve your warm-up routine. Many people spend 10 to 30 minutes warming up before doing their actual first training set. Unless you're dealing with an injury and a medical professional gave you a specific warm-up routine to complete, you don't need that much of a warm-up. In fact, when looking at 6 of the most recent studies on warming up before doing a traditional hypertrophy workout of multiple sets of 6 to 12 reps on different movements, one thing became clear. You don't need a long warm-up to maximize performance. Instead, a single, reasonably heavy set of 1 to 3 repetitions with 70 to 90% of your max may be enough to maximize performance. Some research suggests that preceding that with a set of 4 to 8 repetitions at around 40% of your max may help a bit more. But if you're already pretty warm and just going from one movement to the next, a set of 1 to 3 with 70 to 90% of your max could be all you need to get your muscle building workout started. This could save 10 to 20 minutes from your workout, no problem. My 5th tip is focusing on the stretch. The time savings? Priceless. On a serious note, the research thus suggests that focusing on the stretch can increase your muscle growth without costing any additional time. A couple dozen studies now have compared focusing on the stretch to not focusing on the stretch. To focus on the stretch, simply perform movements that provide a good stretch on the target muscle under resistance. Make sure you don't skimp on that position either. You can either use a full range of motion or even do half reps in the stretch position. This will likely help you build more muscle in the same amount of time. In fact, a recent study we did compared doing just full reps on the single leg calf raise to doing a technique I call the lengthened superset. In the lengthened superset, you do full reps until you can't get another rep, then extend the set by doing half reps in the stretched position until you can't get another stretched rep. We found 40% more growth in the calves when doing these forced lengthened half reps. And this brings me to tip number 6. Make each set count. If you only have a few hours to be in the gym each week, you need to make sure each set is as good as it gets. I just mentioned lengthened supersets, which are a way to train past failure. But even just taking a set to failure will likely make the set build more muscle, with no additional time cost. The most recent meta-analysis on training to failure by Robinson and colleagues found that taking a set to failure could increase muscle growth by around 30% compared to taking it to just 4 reps in a tank. So, training just a bit harder could boost your growth substantially, without any additional time cost. A great way to make it easier to go close to failure is to go heavier, which is my next tip for time saving. We conducted the biggest meta-analysis yet on how accurate people are at gauging failure. For example, if I told you I thought I could do another 3 reps before hitting failure, how accurate would I be in my prediction on average? Well, according to our review paper, people underestimate themselves by 1 rep on average. However, when you perform high rep training, much above 12 reps per set, you become way less accurate and start training less hard. Sticking to sets of 5 to 12 reps can help you train closer to failure, which is important. Additionally, most people can squeeze in more sets this way. The sets are shorter than if you did endless reps, and you might find you need less rest between sets too. This is especially true for exercises like squats. And in fact, that brings me to my next tip. Pick time-efficient exercises. Fortunately, MyoAdapt does all of this for you. If you're short on time, it will give you the most time-efficient exercises possible. If you're busy and don't have much time to train, I think you'll love MyoAdapt. MyoAdapt is the smartest training app out there, soon to be on the market. Go to myoadapt.com now to be notified when MyoAdapt finally launches. By signing up early, you'll receive a lifetime discount. As MyoAdapt knows, the most time-efficient exercises are usually compound, stack-loaded machine or dumbbell exercises. Why? Compound or multi-joint movements allow you to train many muscles at once. In moving several joints at once, they involve a larger fraction of your body's muscle mass. In fact, a meta-analysis on studies comparing isolation and compound movements found that they were similarly effective for building muscle. Dumbbell and machine movements are generally more time-efficient than their barbell and plate-loaded machine counterparts. Instead of setting up a barbell, loading up the plates, etc., stack-loaded machines and dumbbells allow you to get started very quickly and then the exercise very quickly as well. Depending on what your gym is like, you should also consider which pieces of equipment tend to be the busiest. If your chest press machine is always busy, but the dumbbells and benches are always free, you should prioritize dumbbell pressing. Tip number 9 is called exercise snacks. The concept of exercise snacks is to break down traditional longer workouts into bite-sized mini workouts, hence the term snacks. This can work really well if you have a home gym, just a pair of adjustable dumbbells, or even just like using bodyweight exercises. As calisthenics athletes will love to tell you, there are many solid bodyweight exercises out there that can build a lot of muscle. Whenever you get a spare minute, like in between work meetings, try pumping out a set of any exercise. Since you're just doing one set, you can cut out the rest time commitment too, and could be done in just 30 to maybe 60 seconds. Granted, this would be a bit difficult if you work an office job, but working from home, it's totally an option. I find it very convenient to do a few sets right before showering. This allows me to sneak in some extra training into especially busy days. Plus, I get the shower off and sweat afterwards. Some of my favorite movements are push-ups, especially with deficit handles, pistol squats, sissy squats, and single leg calf raises. Our final tip is about workout structure. If you do really hard training early into a workout, like high rep squats for example, you can end up really winded for the rest of the workout, which can cause you to take longer rest times. Instead, when you train, save some of your hardest training, the stuff that gasses you out the most and has the greatest cardiorespiratory demands, for last. This could be some high rep compound training, like high rep split squats, or it could be a drop set. In just 2 to 3 minutes, you've gotten a lot of effective training in, and since you're leaving the gym in a second anyways, breathing heavy afterwards isn't a big deal and won't slow you down for the rest of the workout. Since you stuck with me until the end of the video, let me give you one final tip, or rather, let me be the bearer of good news. If you're busy and worried that a lack of time to exercise is negatively impacting your health, don't worry. The biggest studies we have on how much exercise you need to really get healthy suggest that you can get nearly all the health benefits in just a few hours of hard training each week. For example, a huge cohort study in over 100,000 American adults, published in the Circulation Journal, found that the nearly maximal reduction in overall mortality risk was achieved with just 2.5 to 5 hours of vigorous physical activity, not accounting for any other physical activity you might do in your leisure time, like the occasional walk. Even if you only get a few hours to work out each week, not only can you make solid physique gains, but you can also still take care of your health. If you want to look slick doing your minimum dose workouts, check out rascalapparel.com. This eye candy you've been staring at all video is one of their designs, and I'm sure they have designs that are to your liking. I partnered up with Rascal because they make the nicest, most durable, squat-proof gym clothing out there. Use code WOLF at checkout for 10% off. As promised, here's how I recommend applying these techniques for maximum benefit. Dr. Milo Wolf, maximizing growth in less time. We're out.